is a beautiful day. A little chilly under the bridge, but I will take it over what we've been getting recently, which is just kind of like really wet, damp heat. Alright, good morning everybody. It is a beautiful day. As you can see, I'm getting out a little bit early to have a ride before work. It's been all work recently, all city commuting, and I needed this. As many of you know, I work at a dealership, and the past week has been a ridiculous amount of insurance claims for stolen bikes and or completely totaled, damaged bikes. And it's just over the course of the week has like kind of slowly eaten away at me, and I cannot believe how frequent this is. Hold on one second. I cannot believe how frequent totaled vehicles, accidents, and theft is, and I think that's probably everywhere in the world / the US, but I know New York is just like an incredibly high rate for all of those things. Now listen, that's just life, and that's just how it goes, but it brought me back to this conversation that I had with my family on the West Coast, some of whom ride motorcycles, and you know, we were talking, and they asked me, what is it like to own a motorcycle in New York City? And I basically told them my whole story of how I've had 5 bikes in 3 years, etc., etc., all the details, and their jaws kind of dropped, and they were like, I can't believe you live that way. And to me, I didn't think, it was kind of like a come to Jesus moment, because I really didn't think anything of it. It's just kind of life, and that's how I've lived my life. But to them, you know, like I told them, I got my motorcycle stolen in broad daylight, nothing I could do about it. The cops showed up, and they said kind of, well, the bike's stolen, and we're not even going to try because, well, it's stolen. And bottom line is, they didn't really care, and it happens so often it doesn't matter. And they were like, how can you live like this? The way they were talking, it was like I was living in prison or something. Like it was something so jarring to them. And I never forgot that. You know, in that moment I was like, well, I guess my life really isn't that normal. It's not that normal to live that way, and I guess you don't have to live that way. So since then, I've been kind of like slowly, I guess my eyes have been opened, and now there's no going back. And you know, I've had 3 people this week who have come in and said that their motorcycles were stolen, and every one of them reacted the same way that I did. Was like, well, I guess it was my time. I had the bike for a year or 2, and that's good enough. That's all you can ask for, right? And now I'm thinking, that's so sad that we have to live that way. You know, owning a motorcycle in New York City, that kind of is the mentality. You're lucky to have your bike for 1 or 2 years. That's if you don't have a garage, which is the majority of us. So here we go. You know, that's an unfortunate reality. If you're thinking of getting a motorcycle in New York City, just know that no matter how much you lock it up, there's a good chance that it might go missing. It's just kind of part of it. The best thing you can do, and this is what I tell customers all the time who are considering buying a motorcycle for the first time, is if you want to avoid getting your motorcycle stolen, 1, get parking. But if that's not an option, make your motorcycle as inconvenient to steal. If the people want to steal it, they're going to steal it. They're going to cut through any lock, any chain. They're going to pop off any extra, you know, safety things that you have on there. Or they're just going to lift the whole bike, and more common than not, they're going to put the whole bike in a truck. And that's just going to be what it's going to be. But if you can put multiple locks on that have alarms, so that it's just a ridiculous task to even approach it, that's really the way to go. I know it makes life incredibly difficult, but I'll tell you right now, I'm parking in a garage now. I've had to shell out for that. I have 3 locks on my bike that have alarms. I have 2 chains, 1 on each wheel, and then I have the handlebar, the one on the throttle or the clutch hand that locks the clutch. So that's my daily lockup. Woo! Let's get it. Too much fun. Alright, calm it down. That's what I do every single day. So it is a pain in the ass, but it so far, I mean, knock wood, I have this bike still. It's only been 2 months and I'm thankful. You know, so that's what I recommend, is making it as inconvenient as possible to steal, because if someone gets to it and they're like, you know what, forget this, there's too much attention, there's too much a chance of us getting getting caught, or someone walking by while we're doing this, let's get out of here. That's all you can do. But the garage is the main factor. You know, the garage I have now, or that I lucked out into getting a spot in, has cameras on it, has an attendant, so it's a far ways from where I live, but it is well worth it. The second thing to worry about in New York is if you are going to street park. Well, obviously the theft thing comes into street parking, but getting knocked over, getting bumped into when you're not there, it's this whole anxiety-ridden lifestyle of like every 10 minutes you're worried about your bike, so you go out and check on it. And again, that is just the reality of having a street park and having a motorcycle in the city. But there's certain things you can do. You know, you really have to carve out time to park. So what should be a means to an easy lifestyle, like an easy commuter lifestyle, is actually a burden, because now you're burdened with making sure that it's okay. And that's just what it is, you know. Take the time to plan where you're parking, you know. Most neighborhoods have a little community of people who are parking cars, people who park bikes, so over time you'll get to know those people in the neighborhood, and it's best to coordinate with these guys, because it really helps. Parking at the corner of streets is really dangerous, or the best. It just depends on the situation. If surrounding roads turn into where your bike is, then it's a, you know, it's a spot that's going to get crossed frequently, and you just kind of want to avoid that. Look for spots where people have to pull out further than normal to kind of gauge what cars are coming, because that basically means that they have to go past your bike to make a turn, which is what you want. And then when you're parking for casual things, you go into the city, you want to pull over and do something, just make sure you're looking around and you're taking note of who is around and people who are looking. There are scouts out there who are constantly looking for bikes, and they'll call their guy with the truck. And also there's high traffic areas where people pull into and out of all the time, and those are bad spots. And then the other is the cops. The city cops are terrible. Any moving violation, basically, you do not get the option to make any kind of argument or anything. It's just guilty or not guilty. That's it. That's how that works here. I know in Long Island and Jersey they're somewhat lenient, and they're open to kind of your explanation. It doesn't mean that, you know, they'll take your opinion, but you get the opportunity at least, which would be kind of nice, to be treated like a human. Applies to cars too. And then the ticket guys, you know, they come around every day. The little ticket guys, oh, I hate the ticket guys. They have their little printers on their hip, and no leniency. I mean, like, here's the thing, is like most people have a good record with these guys, but like for some reason this is why I do everything the like textbook way, is because like I guess there's something about me that people just hate, whatever. But I get every ticket under the sun. I've gotten a speeding ticket on my Vespa 150. I got a parking ticket for not even being parked, but like I pulled this again when I had my Vespa, maybe it was the scooter, pulled my Vespa over for 1 second to check my phone. The guy started writing me a ticket, wouldn't hear anything about it. So these ticket guys, these meters, take these parking zones very seriously. And then, on top of that, separate from the ticket, guys, when I got my bike stolen, I called the cops, and well, actually, the cops called me. They found it before me. They showed up, and they were actually quite nice. And then they had me wait around for an hour for the detectives, and the detectives were like, yeah, we're not even gonna try. They didn't show up. They called the cops and told them to tell me that they weren't coming because they just thought it was pointless, which I thought was a little fucked up for cops. They could at least show face and pretend, but I suppose they have better things to do, maybe like murders and such, you know. I don't know. The cops also told me that they didn't even try to catch the guy because there's no point. And I was like, well, that's like me going to work and being like, yeah, I didn't even try to sell a bike because there's no point. Like, it's not really how the job works. But and they saw the guy right away. They said they saw him take off and they decided it wasn't worth it. I don't know if there's a no chase law here. I think there is, so maybe that's the reasoning behind it. But the whole thing, I felt like kind of, what are you guys here for? Like, so, and I don't think it's that, well, maybe it is that cops just don't really care about motorcycles, because there are a lot of motorcycles who ride crazy and, you know, break the law. So I don't not understand. Fucking terrible. I don't not understand why they don't care about us. You know, I get it. But that doesn't give anybody any incentive to, like, follow the law or, like, do anything right, you know? So it's this whole nasty cycle. So, anyway, that's what it's like to ride a motorcycle in New York City. Yeah, sometimes you gotta get out. That's what it's like to ride a motorcycle in New York City. If anyone's curious, that's what it's like. I am one vehicle away, one totaled vehicle or one stolen vehicle away from my insurance rates going through the goddamn roof. So after 34 years of New York City living, thank you. After 34 years of New York City living, I'm ready to get out. And honestly, if I didn't have family here, I would not be here. I would find another spot. I don't know if I'm, like, suited to live anywhere else, to be honest with you. Like, it's in my blood, so I'm kind of like in this catch-22. But I would love to live in a place where I didn't have to worry about everything I own getting stolen or broken by people who don't know how to drive or people who don't know how to get a job. You know, that would be absolutely phenomenal. I gotta get out of here. So even though all those things seem really negative, actually those things are really negative, I still wouldn't live my life any other way. I still think that owning a motorcycle is, you know, to me, the backbone for city living. Even with all of that, it's worth it. It makes living in the city actually livable for me, is because it gives you the option to get out when you want. Having a car is a real burden, and it's not freedom at all, not in the city. So having something as small and maneuverable as a bike really allows you to just pick up and go. Like today, like I'm getting out before work, and it doesn't require getting the car and sitting in traffic for hours. I can really just escape. So even though I just kind of poured on all those terrible things, they're real things that you have to consider, and that's the only reason I share them. But I recommend highly getting a motorcycle, learning how to ride. It's the best thing, and I wouldn't do it any other way. So highly recommend the motorcycle lifestyle, especially in the Triborough area. Alright guys, so that is the video for today. I just wanted to get out a little bit, warm the bike up, stretch my legs before work, and you know, share some of my thoughts on what it's like to own a motorcycle in New York City. It's not all pleasant. It's pleasant and not pleasant, but totally worth it in my opinion. So if you're considering buying a bike, living in New York City, I hope this video helps. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe down below if you like motorcycle content like this. Thanks for checking in, guys, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.